Hello, Donna. How are you? How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. How's
Yeah,
your week? How's your week going?
pretty well.
Good.
Ready for Christmas?
Yep. Are you ready?
Yep.
Good.
You?
I'm very close.
Yeah.
Very close.
I have to,
So,
have to rock a little bit more.
yeah, I just went to Target and man, that was crazy. I think it took me about 45 minutes to get through the line. Yeah. So, that'll be my last trip there.
Oh,
Oh, well, all right. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. Okay.
sounds good.
All righty. I'll unmute you after class. Here we go. All right. Let's start with common words. Ready? Food, full, for, cause, explain, expect, fight, exactly, sort, completely, min, dance, met, story, whatever, build, speak, glass, pain, check, glare, corner, misses, chest, hot, rather, month, real, touch, park, bring, there, drink, ago, force, you've, fast, lost, attention, mark, wish, wave, shout, fill, begin, baby, interest, money, fun, green, however, cheek, mine, clear, brown, forward, near, picture, pink, may, cool, drive, hug, shake. Okay. Now, this is going to be a finger dexterity drill. All right, here we go. Creak, slight, thigh. Ground, brain, snake. Sheet, fret, sweet. Roast, crude, these. Whack, whiff, thug. Thief, stream, lift. Grand, slick, chart. Cheer, bread, sneer. Froze, sway, strike. Grim, fruit, then. Whim, grab, check. Thrift, charge, bluff. Grouch, wheat, flop. Snow, fright, snooze. Tread, strain, treat. Blunt, brick, cheese. Speak, sleet, fresh. Sweep, third, glad. And there's more, but I will read those tomorrow. The rest of those. All right. Now I've got another drill. This is going to be of the, to the, for the. Here we go. Back of the door, man of the hour, end of the war, leg of the chair, top of the heap, rear of the car, report of the investigation, treatment of the injury, force of the collision, root of the problem, piece of the rock, will of the majority, office of the president, view of the scene, butt of the rifle, report to the house, call to the station, letter to the editor, note to the principal, reference to the bill, advice to the patient, petition to the court, response to the ad, papers to the senator, visit to the doctor, case to the jury, nose to the grindstone, party to the action, objection to the question, second to the motion, stop for the light, reason for the crime, party for the kids, counsel for the defense, subject for the speech, witness for the state, chair for the patio, money for the homeless, gift for the child, passes for the concert, home for the aged, hanging for the wall, ticket for the event, passes for the concert, date for the trial, tragedy for the family. All right. Got some sentences here that emphasize final consonants, final PT, final PTS, final PZ, final PL, and final PLZ. Okay. All right, here we go. I will not disrupt your stops. He swaps this for that. We had crepes for lunch. The flaps were kept dry. Throw the scraps off the steeple. She weeps as she sweeps. Corrupt cops are rare. He had a rapt expression. We made an abrupt stop. Corrupt cops are rare. The tops of the steps were replaced. Triple the amount of the gift. Staples enhance a diet. It was a new concept in drapes. She drops everything. They removed their tops to swim. Can you adapt to the change? Small drips and large drops are common. He kept the maple syrup. She types while on trips. I will attempt to adopt you. All right, Tangle Tamers. Here we go. Ready? Commemorative whistles, clamoring for independence, double-decker train, campaign to maintain, heart-lung resuscitator, demanding abolishment, international criticism, institutional investigation, forcibly annexed, gustatory delights, grungily industrial, natural causes, program coordinator, disguised guerrillas, opposition unrest, advisory board, suspension automatic, budgetary gridlock. All right, now I have words that end with shun. Here we go. Ready? Session, contortion, admission, precaution, ambition, aggravation, remission, demotion, audition, deception, devotion, tradition, explosion, invasion, expansion, notion, ocean, indignation, promotion, contusion, exploitation, fusion, caption, percussion, nutrition, convulsion, vocation, expulsion, confusion, propulsion, depression, fabrication, lotion, adhesion, occasion, adaptation, application, convention, ignition, detention, fixation, expansion, location, suspension, nation, tension, probation, description, conversion, exception, concession, confession, repulsion, excursion, discretion, portion, secretion, version. All right. Now I've got some sentences that focus on times and dates. Here we go. Ready? Be here at 2:30 p.m. We signed on 8/12/2010. I was born in 86. He arrived at 4:10 a.m. It's dated 7/19/01. It was filed in 09. She is due at 4:20 p.m. Dated on 8/14/92. It happened in 03. It starts at 5:30 p.m. The date is 4/3/2012. We bought it in 96. Try for 8:00 a.m. I finished at 9:20 p.m. He quit on 10/11/13. Her plane is due at 12:30 p.m. The document is dated 7/1/09. We built the house in 14. It starts at 7 o'clock sharp. The meeting begins at 1:45 p.m. The exhibit is dated 6/2/91. Mia Chris was born in 95. Is it 7:30 p.m. or 7:30 a.m.? I graduated from Yale in 96. Be here promptly at 9:30 a.m. The escrow opened on 12/29/11. Our 91 vacation was great. The session convenes at 7:30 p.m. The original is dated to 1/73. My father retired in 85. The war ended in 45. The court resumes at 1:30 p.m. Make the date 7/30/81. We adjourned at 4:30 p.m. He graduated in 2013. Try it at 6 o'clock a.m. I signed on 5/13/01. He won the '08 match. Start at 2 o'clock. Taxes are due on 4/15/2018. It was Christmas in 89. It says 10 o'clock p.m. It will be in '05. My birthday is 1/5/76. All right. Now I've got some sentences using common briefs. So I'm going to give you the briefs first, and then I'll give you the sentences. Okay, we've got corporation, cooperation, counsel, custody, damage, defend, defense, describe, description, determine, differential, dining room, do you know, do you recall, do you remember, emergency, envelope, error, etc., evidence, experiment, evident, for example, had been, has been, have been, hospital, how long, how far, husband, I couldn't, I can't, idea, identify, identification, I didn't, I don't, ill, inventory, imagine, inconsiderate, inquire. All right, here are your sentences. We really need your cooperation. The two men made a corporation. She was the counsel for the case. His father fought for custody. There was little damage to her car. He tried to defend her honor. It was a good defense. How would you describe her? The description didn't match. The judge will determine the sentence. The rear differential was cracked. We sat in the dining room. Do you know how to dance? Do you recall his last name? Do you remember this song? It was an emergency. I need an envelope. Jan made an error. We own cats, dogs, mice, etc. I want to try an experiment. Please submit this for evidence. It is evident he has no clue. For example, she has no paint. He had been in pain. I have been sick. Which way is the hospital? She has been sick. How far did you go? How long is the game? I don't want any. He will be my husband soon. I couldn't eat another bite. I can't go with you tonight. The idea is new. She could not identify the man. I forgot my identification card. I didn't do it. I don't like mushrooms. Their sweetness made me ill. I have to count the inventory. Can you imagine that? John is so inconsiderate. I will inquire about it later. All right. I've got one last drill for you. This is going to be sentences with the shun again. So I'm going to give you some of the words that will be in these sentences, okay? Session, passion, remission, mention, mission, fashion, tradition, permission, lesion, fusion, inflation, tension, ration, nation, nutrition, and sensation. And here are your sentences. The train is due at the station at noon. Her perception is acute. Use caution as you approach. I don't know where he got that notion. Captioning is an excellent opportunity for court reporters. The school board could not agree on the teaching of evolution. It is a tradition to throw rice after the wedding. She had a contusion on her forehead. Do you think it would be an intrusion to visit for the weekend? The dictation was just a tiny bit too fast. You really need to make a concession. The House passed the resolution just before it adjourned. His pension was just not enough. Is he a close relation? It takes work to increase your retention of dictation. The rock formation was unusual. Were you late for the reception? The precipitation this year was extremely low. Did you look up the definition? I don't have any inclination to go in that ice-cold water. I am afraid my irritation showed. Did you have occasion to comment on his reputation? That is just a delusion. Imitation crab has less fat and is hard to tell from the real thing. All right, so we'll go into literary. I have a letter for you. I'm going to read this once at 180, again at 200, and again at 225. It's just a paragraph long. Okay, here we go. Ready? I'm sorry, I missed a line. Dear sir, have you ever wanted to learn to fly? Have you pictured yourself sitting in the cockpit of a plane? Would you like to have a pilot's license? A license to fly will make it possible for you to do scores of things that were never possible before. Our flight training makes it easy to learn to fly. Our centers offer you both flight and ground school training, and our course is designed so that what you learn on the ground fully trains you for your solo flight. You will feel as though you are up in the air and flying while you are learning in our ground trainer. Call us today and enjoy the freedom of flight. Sincerely yours, Soaring in the Sky. All right, so we'll do it again at 200. Here we go. Have you ever wanted, I did it again. I looked over, dear sir is just at the top in these tiny little letters, so sorry about that. Dear sir, have you ever wanted to learn to fly? Have you pictured yourself sitting in the cockpit of a plane? Would you like to have a pilot's license? A license to fly will make it possible for you to do scores of things that were never possible before. Our flight training makes it easy to learn to fly. Our centers offer you both flight and ground school training, and our course is designed so that what you learn on the ground fully trains you for your solo flight. You will feel as though you are up in the air and flying while you are learning in our ground trainer. Call us today and enjoy the freedom of flight. Sincerely yours, Soaring in the Sky. All right, last time at 225. Here we go. Dear sir, have you ever wanted to learn to fly? Have you pictured yourself sitting in the cockpit of a plane? Would you like to have a pilot's license? A license to fly will make it possible for you to do scores of things that were never possible before. Our flight training makes it easy to learn to fly. Our centers offer you both flight and ground school training, and our course is designed so that what you learn on the ground fully trains you for your solo flight. You will feel as though you are up in the air and flying while you are learning in our ground trainer. Call us today and enjoy the freedom of flight. Sincerely yours, Soaring in the Sky. All right. All right, so now I've got some congressional record, and the subject is family rental tax. All right, here we go. Let me give you a little word list. We've got reintroducing, hardship, penalty, rental, colleagues, taxpayers, primary, allowances, burdensome, hardship, Congress, internal revenue, Mr. Speaker, disallows, tax code. All right, that's about it. All right, so I'm going to start this at 180 and I'll work my way to 200. Here we go. Mr. Speaker, in the closing days of the 98th Congress, I would like to discuss a cruel and burdensome hardship that is about to fall on American families who rent an apartment or a home to a family member. This burden is the family rental tax, which is a provision of the Internal Revenue Tax Code. In short, this tax disallows some of the normal deductions on rental property when the tenant is a relative. Today I am introducing a bill which will put an end to the family rental tax. There is a potential harm with the family rental tax. Even if the property is rented at full market value, this new tax would impose a strict penalty on the property owner. I believe the family rental tax is a step backward. We must continue to recognize the family unit as a primary source of support for all of its members, and in particular, its older members. The bill that I have developed will correct the language of the code to more clearly show that Congress supports the limits on deductions on vacation rentals, but does not support the limits on principal residences. Part 1 would change the language of Section 5473D to allow the normal deductions with rental property when the taxpayer rents to a family member. Part 2 would change the language of Section 8399R of the Code to restrict the tax allowances for taxpayers who have vacation rental property that is not rented on a 12-month or yearly basis. We are fortunate because the Internal Revenue Service will not enforce the family rental tax in this tax year. I urgently encourage my distinguished colleagues, all taxpayers themselves, to consider this matter before the close of the Congress. All right. I have some legal opinion, and here is your word list: fair market, monetary, replacement, commercial, accessibility, depreciation, attributable, pertinent, Florence, proximity, public, transportation, zoning, neighborhood, obsolescence, capitalization, gave you zoning. That's about it. All right, so I'm going to start this again at 180 and work my way to 200. Here we go. Let's speak objectively regarding the matter at hand. There are certain matters which may be considered by the witness in forming an opinion as to the fair market value of the Florence property. When evidence of such matters has been received, it may be considered only for the very limited and special purpose of enabling one to understand and weigh the testimony of the witnesses as to their opinion of the fair market value of the Florence property. Among pertinent matters which should be considered are the following. First, the area and the location of the Florence property, the uses for which it may be adapted, its proximity to nearby shopping malls and commercial facilities, the accessibility and the availability of public transportation, and the zoning of the Florence property. Second, the nature of physical improvements on the property and the general character of the neighborhood in the vicinity of the Florence property, the character of the current uses being made of such other properties, and the trend for land use and development in the immediate neighborhood. Third, the price and important monetary considerations of any sale or contract to sell and purchase the Florence property or any other properties which are considered to be comparable in value to the defendant's property. Generally, the more similar one property is to another, the closer the value of the one may be expected to approach the value of the other. Fourth, a witness may also consider the rent, fees, and charges or any other terms and circumstances of any lease of the subject property or of a property of comparable value. Fifth, a witness may consider the capitalization rate of the reasonable net rental value attributable to the land and any existing improvements. Sixth, a witness may also consider the replacement value as indicated by the value of the land together with the cost of replacing or reproducing the existing improvements thereon, less any depreciation or any obsolescence the improvements have suffered. 7, a witness may also consider the reasonable probability, if any, of a change in zoning restrictions in the near future and the effect such a change would have upon the value of the property. As you have been previously informed, evidence should be considered only for the purpose of enabling one to understand and weigh the testimony of the witnesses as to their opinions of market value. All right. Moving on to jury charge, and the subject is criminal. All right. All right, here we go. I'm going to read this at 200. Actually, I'll start at 200 and work my way to 225. I'll just read the last part at 225. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, now that you have heard the evidence, we come to that part of the trial where you are instructed on the applicable law. I am required to read the instructions to you in open court. In addition, you will have these instructions in their written form in the jury room for use during your deliberations. Whether a defendant is to be found guilty or not guilty depends upon both the facts and the law. As jurors, you have two duties to perform. One duty is to determine the facts of the case from the evidence received in the trial and not from any other source. The word fact means something that is proved directly or circumstantially by the evidence or by agreement of counsel. Your duty is to apply the rules of law that I state to you to the facts as you determine them, and in this way to arrive at your verdict. It was my duty in these instructions to explain to you the rules of law that apply to this case. You must accept and follow the rules of law as I state them to you. As jurors, you must not be influenced by pity for a defendant or by prejudice against him. You must not be biased against the defendant because he has been arrested for this offense, or because he has been charged with a crime, or because he has been brought to trial. None of these circumstances is evidence of his guilt, and you must not infer or assume from any or all of them that he is more likely to be guilty than innocent. You must not be swayed by mere sentiment, conjecture, sympathy, passion, prejudice, public opinion, or public feeling. You may consider both direct and circumstantial evidence in deciding this case. The law permits you to give equal weight to both, but it is for you, the jury, to decide how much weight to give any and all of the evidence that came before you. All right. Go ahead and move into Q&A. I still have my my state test here. Let me unmute you. So you let me know when you would like me to read it. I don't know if you want me to read it today.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Again?
All right. And I'll do the whole thing again, like, let you know, who's who. Like,
So Jill, that jury charge was 200 and 225.
yep.
I love jury charge. I
You
love
do
it.
love,
So good.
yeah, that was it. I did about half 200 and then I went right into 225.
That's good.
Yeah, that's awesome. You felt good about it?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, so maybe court is for you, maybe that's going to be your
I like it a lot.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Because not everybody likes jury charge. It's kind of funny. You get about half and half. Some people love jury charge. Some people love literary. It just depends. Isn't that crazy? It's how everybody's different.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Q&A. Some people like maybe more challenging words, but not as much of the back and forth. And then other people prefer maybe easier material, but they don't mind the back and forth. So it's a preference,
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we'll go ahead and do this, and I will I will read this to you, and I'll read it at 200, just like the test.
Okay. Once you mute me, because I cough or something.
Oh, yes. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. I always forget. Okay. All right. Let's see. I want to just make sure I have the right attorneys. Harvey Crow. Okay. All right. So here we go. Good morning. I am Mr. Harvey. I am the plaintiff attorney in this action. On your chair, each of you found a packet. Place this beside your chair until after the dictation is complete. If you cannot hear or understand me, please say so now. Hello, my name is Linda Anna Cunningham. I will be the witness in this action. After the dictation is complete, you will put your notes into your envelope and walk directly to the typing room. If you cannot hear or understand me, please say so now. Hello, I will represent the court in this action. I would like to advise you now that there is to be no talking after the dictation is complete and while you are walking to the typing room. If you cannot hear or understand me, please say so now. Hello, my name is Ms. Crow. I am the defense attorney in this action. After the dictation is complete and you have walked to the typing room, get ready to begin typing immediately. In your envelope, you will find a list of the proper names along with other written directions. You will be told by the proctor when to begin typing. You will have 3 hours to transcribe your notes. If you cannot hear or understand me, please say so now. All right, so I'll go ahead and start. And well, let's see here. Let me see something. Start test. Yeah, I'm just gonna go. I'm not gonna stop. I'll just go ahead and do the, the introduction and go right into the test. I won't even kind of, I won't let you know like when it officially starts until after it's over. Okay. All right, here we go. Good afternoon, Your Honor. Thank you. At this time, the plaintiff would like to call Linda Cunningham. Please state your name and would you spell your first and last name? My name is Linda, Linda. Do you want my full formal name? That's fine. Linda, Linda. My middle name is Anna, Anna, Cunningham, Cunningham. Thank you. You may take the stand. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Mrs. Cunningham, will you tell the jury where you reside? Fresno, California. Are you married, ma'am? Yes. And to whom are you married? Pardon? To whom are you married? Roger Cunningham. Roger, the gentleman sitting next to me? Yes. When did you get married? February of 1989. And are you the stepmother or co-parent of Bobby Cunningham? Yes, I am. Does Bobby live with you and Roger? Yes. How long has he lived with the two of you? Well, he has lived with Roger since September of 88, and then I joined them when we got married in February of 89. Okay, are you currently employed? Yes. And how would you tell the jury what your business or occupation is? I am a teacher teaching a 5th and 6th grade combo. What school do you teach at this time? Rolling Hills. Where did you graduate from, ma'am? California State, Fresno. And your degree is in what? Liberal studies. Where did you first meet Roger? Your Honor, objection, immaterial. Overruled, foundational. I met Roger June of 88. I am sorry, you got married when? February of 89. At some point in time, did you become aware of some statements that were made by the defendant about your husband? Yes. Would you tell the jury what the statements were that you became aware of? Your Honor, may we have a foundation as to time and place? Sustained. That's an objection, foundational. That's correct, Your Honor. Sustained. At some time, did you become aware that statements were made about your husband? Yes. And would you tell the jury when you became aware of those statements? I became aware when we received a letter. It would have been in August or September of 88, telling that his visitation had been canceled because of some allegations of Roger molesting his son, Bobby. Okay, at any time, did you hear those allegations repeated? Yes. Would you tell us when the first time after having received that letter that you found those allegations repeated? I believe the first time I heard about it was through a parent at Bobby's school. If you can focus on our steps or just think about it. And if you know the exact date, if you don't know the exact date, let us know as best you can or as close as you can. It would have been in October of 90. Okay, and that was a parent of a student at Bobby's school? Yes, I would object, leading and suggestive, sustained. Where was that parent's child enrolled in school? Monroe School. And what school was Bobby enrolled in at that time? Monroe School. And who was the parent with whom you had the conversation? Betty Mason. Did you see Betty Mason here today? In passing, yes. What did Betty Mason tell you about this conversation? Objection, that calls for hearsay, Your Honor. Counsel, do you wish to argue that now? Yes, Your Honor, I would certainly like to argue that. Counsel, I will overrule the objection. Linda, I think my question was, what did she tell you? Well, Your Honor, I object on the basis of no foundation as to when and where this conversation took place. Overruled. Go ahead. I actually called Betty Mason. Betty did not come up to me. I called her when I discovered that there was a hearing, and I am looking at my notes for the dates. It was after the hearing where Roger and Beverly were present. What happened at the court hearing? In court, Beverly said that Betty Mason had told her that I was calling myself Bobby's mom, and when I heard her name mentioned is when I realized there had been some conversation between them. So I called her over the phone. That's when she told me of these accusations. Okay, let's back up then. Did you ever call yourself Bobby's mother to any of the school officials at Monroe? No. Have you ever held yourself out to be Bobby's legal guardian? No. The conversation with Betty Mason, which was prompted by the comments that you heard the defendant make, what was the substance of that? Could you repeat that again, please? Sure, let me just try to get in place. You said that you placed a call to Betty Mason. Yes. It was about something that you had heard, that you were holding yourself out as Bobby's mother? Yes. You mentioned that there were accusations made to you during that telephone conversation? Yes, Betty Mason told me. Now, Your Honor, I am going to object again on the basis of hearsay. Overruled. During the conversation, Betty Mason told me about the accusations that Beverly was making about Roger, that Roger had molested his son, Bobby. Did she say anything else in that conversation? Yes, other things. Okay, did she say anything else that related to those accusations? No, we didn't get into the detail. I said, may I have Roger call you? I didn't want to get into a big conversation. I was stunned. Move that be stricken. It is non-responsive to the question. Sustained. Did you have a reaction to the comments that Betty Mason made? Pardon? Did you have a reaction to the comment Betty Mason made? Yes, I was very stunned, and I couldn't believe that those accusations were being said at Bobby's school. At some time, did you discuss this with Roger? Yes, I telephoned him shortly thereafter at work. Did you tell him what you had heard? Yes, and I told him if he would please call Betty Mason, and I thought it was his place to talk to her at this time. Linda, did you have any other conversations with any other people, either parents of students at Monroe School or teachers or administrators at Monroe School, regarding the accusations that you have just mentioned? No, I didn't really want to discuss it with them. I knew through Roger that we started to investigate in the school, or Roger did, about what was going on, but I didn't have. Your Honor, this is not responsive. I am sorry, this is not responsive. Just a moment. Objection on the basis. It asked for a conversation. Sustained. Everything past no will be stricken. Linda, did you ever talk to anyone else who told you about the accusations that Beverly Jackson made about your husband? Yes, Mrs. Adams. Let's see. I can't remember her first name. Is that a Mrs. Susan Adams? Yes, Susan Adams. And where did Mrs. Adams live at the time you had these conversations? She lived in the same apartment complex with Beverly Jackson. Can you help us out with an approximation? Or if you know the specific day that you had this conversation with Mrs. Adams? I believe it was in March of 91. Okay, what did she tell you? I am going to object to that, calling for hearsay, Your Honor. Sustained. Did the conversation with Mrs. Adams deal with the accusations that were made by the defendant? I am going to object as being leading and suggestive. Sustained. Can you describe for us what Mrs. Adams told you? Well, that's hearsay, Your Honor. Sustained. Objection. Sustained. Your Honor, may I be heard on this? Not necessary. At some time, did you and Roger discuss adopting another child? Yes. Did you discuss that with Bobby? Yes. Would you tell the jury what your plans were as far as adopting another child? Objection. Immaterial, irrelevant, Your Honor. I will sustain it at this point. Well, Your Honor, I request to be heard on this. This relates to the damage aspect of this case and how it affects my client. She is not a party plaintiff, Your Honor. I understand. I didn't ask for argument. I beg your pardon, Your Honor. Please excuse me. All right. At some time, did you discuss with your husband his willingness to adopt another child? Yes. Did he tell you what his intention or inclination was as far as adopting another child? Objection, Your Honor. Objection on the basis of hearsay. Overruled. Just calls for a yes or no. He did not want to adopt. It calls for a yes or no. Excuse me, yes. Can you tell us whether a decision was made as to you and your husband adopting a second child? The decision, objection on the grounds of immateriality. It is overruled on that ground. Well, there must be one I am not thinking of, Your Honor. Go ahead. The decision to adopt, Roger didn't want to. The allegations were, Your Honor, the question has been answered. Sustained. Did he tell you or did you discuss why Roger didn't want to adopt a child? Objection calls for hearsay. Overruled calls for a yes or no. Would you repeat it, please? Sure. Did you discuss with Roger whether or not he wanted to adopt a second child? Yes. What did you two discuss? Objection, Your Honor. He said absolutely not. Did you have a conversation as to why he refused to adopt a second child? Yes. Would you please relate what that was? Well, basically, he didn't want to adopt because, well, this calls for a conclusion on the part of this witness, Your Honor. Sustained. Did he explain to you his reason for not wanting to adopt a child? Yes. What was that? He was afraid that we would not be granted that right to adopt with the allegations pending accusations. And those are the accusations that were made by the defendant? Yes. And those are the accusations that were related to or about child molestation? Yes. Objection leading and suggestive, Your Honor. Sustained. Did you ever try to go through the adoption process? The paperwork I obtained, but filling it out, no. Did you discuss this with Bobby? Well, he saw the paperwork and he saw a stork with a baby and he asked, well, I discussed it and I said, Bobby, would you like to have a brother or a sister? And he said, yes. Nothing further at this time. Counsel cross-examination. Has there been a change in Roger's behavior since those allegations have been made? Yes. Objection. That's overruled. The answer was yes. That will remain. Would you tell us what changes you have seen? An uptightness, frustration, becoming more withdrawn. I would describe being scared maybe to go out in the public alone with Bobby without me there. Linda, do you do some volunteer work? Yes. Would you tell the jury with what group you do the volunteer work? Right now I am volunteering in the community. In the past I have done that, but currently with my job, the volunteer work that I am doing is at the synagogue. Have you done any work for any scouting groups? Yes. And would you tell the jury what kind of work you have done with scouting groups? Objection immaterial, Your Honor, irrelevant. Her work. Well, I will overrule it. Is this foundational? Yes, it is, Your Honor. All right. I am a Cub Scout leader and I have been for 3 years. Have you ever had a discussion with Roger about whether he was interested or willing to be involved in scouting? Yes, I have tried year after year to try to get him involved more in scouting. Now, has he stopped or resisted from becoming involved with the scouting organization? Objection, not proper cross. Sustained. What was Roger's response to your suggestion that he become involved with the scouting groups? He didn't feel comfortable doing it himself. Objection, move it be stricken as a conclusion on the part of the witness. Counsel, she asked the question, overruled. My doing it was fine, but there are strict rules as to you have to go through a program for child abuse. And even I was afraid when I went through it and applied that I would be denied because Roger was my husband and these accusations were out. Did Roger ultimately let you know whether he wanted to be a scout leader or a troop leader or participant with the Cub Scouts or Boy Scouts? Yes, because he was a Boy Scout himself. Did he tell you that he wanted to be involved? Yes. Did Roger ever become involved with the scouting organization since you have been married? No, he has come with us on trips. Your Honor, the question has been answered. Sustained. Has he gone with you on trips? Yes. Have you discussed with Roger whether Bobby can have overnight visitors? Yes. And the visitors that you were talking about are some of Bobby's friends? Yes. What decisions did you make regarding whether Bobby could have some of his friends spend the night? Objection, Your Honor. Overruled. He said no. Did you talk about it? Yes. I would ask that counsel step back from the witness stand, Your Honor. Yes, counsel, resume your seat, please. Did Roger discuss with you his reasons for not wanting Bobby to have his friends spend the night? Yes. What did he tell you? He did not feel comfortable. He did not want to be alone with any of Bobby's friends, and that was his main concern, to have them over, thinking what the parents would say, thinking about what others may have heard. Did you or Roger have any other concerns about having children spend the night? Could you repeat the question? Sure. Did you have any other concerns about the reaction of parents to an invitation to spend the night at Bobby's house? Yes, the question has been answered, Your Honor. Sustained. Would you tell us what your concerns were about the reaction of the parents of Bobby's friends? Objection, no proper foundation laid. Sustained. Did you have a concern about what the parents at the school thought? You mean the other parents? Thank you. What Bobby's friends' parents thought about their spending the night at Bobby's house? Yes. Let's identify who some of these people are for the record, please. All right. Do you want to tell us who are the neighbors or friends about whom you were concerned that they would not permit their son to spend the night at Bobby's house? All of our surrounding neighbors. All right. Can you tell us the names of your close neighbors who have children Bobby's age who would have been invited to your house? Mr. and Mrs. Clark, Mr. and Mrs. Abbey, and Mr. and Mrs. Ward. What was your concern? I was afraid that they would reject our invitation because of knowing about the accusations. Do these neighbors know about the accusations that the defendant made? Objection calls for conclusion on the part of this witness. She either knows or she doesn't, Your Honor. Sustained. Counsel, we will recess at this time. You may step down, Mrs. Cunningham. How'd you do?
Not great. That's a hard test.
Yeah, it was a tough one. Lots of objections.
Lots of objections. There was one word that kept messing me up. I don't know if I just forgot a brief, and I can't remember now what word it was.
Was it accusations?
Maybe, yeah.
That was hard to read too. I wondered that.
I don't
And
have
then did synagogue kind of throw you off?
I went through it. I'll have to see if it I just wrote it again and it translates fine, so I'll see if I got it.
Good, yeah. Synagogue. I know that was it kind of stumped a lot of people.
Surprising word.
Yeah, like, whoa, wait. And
yeah,
then
that one just wanders all over the place.
It does.
Yeah.
I know. Talks about, volunteering and the school, and then it goes into the Cub Scouts and the Boy Scouts. It's like, it's just hard to, and then they had a couple of people that like Beverly and Betty, so you have to be careful with that.
Yep, it's a tough test. I'm impressed you passed.
Yeah, but again, that was my second time, and I was like, oh no, I'm not coming back again.
I know I dropped a speaker at one point. I know I didn't get it.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's all right. I'll read it again and on another day.
Yeah.
And see how you do,
Sounds good. I like it.
All right. Well, then let's go ahead and I'll go ahead and read another some more Q&A. Okay. Let's see here. This is a new transcript. All right. This is court. Here we go. I'll read this at 200. People versus Sean Thomas Myers and Heidi Mae Patterson. Kurt Mason for the people. Susan Sanders, specially appearing on behalf of Rick Smith for Ms. Patterson, present in custody, coming before the court, and Brandon Waltz on behalf of Mr. Myers, Your Honor. He is present in custody before the court, seated behind me. Okay, this is the time and place set for the preliminary hearing. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Waltz, are you ready? I am ready. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Saunders, are you ready? We are ready. Any motion before we begin? Exclude and join. Motion to exclude witnesses is granted. People would move to designate Deputy Salmon as the investigating officer. Can you spell the last name for the record, please, Mr. Mason? Sure, it's Salmon. Thank you. Deputy Salmon will be deemed the investigating officer on behalf of the people. Mr. Mason, you may call your first witness. People call Deputy Ramos. You do solemnly state that the testimony you shall state in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yes, I do. Please state your full name for the record, spelling your first and last name. My name is Mark Ramos, M-A-R-K-R-A-M-O-S. You may inquire, Mr. Mason. Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Deputy. Good morning. What is your occupation? I'm a deputy sheriff with the Oxnard Sheriff's Department. How long have you been a sworn peace officer in the state of California? 9 years, 5 months. What was your assignment in September of 2012? I'm assigned to the Narcotics Division, CalMet. Just briefly give us a background, training, and experience relating to the narcotic investigations, specifically methamphetamine and manufacturing. I attended our basic academy through the Sheriff's Department training while in the jails, encountered numerous individuals who brought either controlled substances into the jail facilities, and while on patrol, well over 200 or 300 of encounters with methamphetamine, everything from sales to use. So you've encountered methamphetamine several hundred times? Yes, sir. Were you on duty on September 10th, 2012 at approximately 4:30 p.m.? Yes, sir, I was. Did you assist with a search warrant at 5025 Kyle Road? And for the record, that is spelled K-Y-L-E Road in the city of Oxnard? Yes, I did. Is that in the county of Los Angeles? Yes, it is. Your Honor, I would make an objection to the deputy's testimony. I don't have any discovery of a report from him. There is no report from him. He's referenced in, I believe, Deputy Salmon's report and Detective Hogan's report. And Ms. Sanders, Mr. Waltz, do you have Deputy Hogan's report and Deputy Salmon's report? I have Salmon's. Is that what he's going to be testifying off of? He will be testifying. Well, I will object. The proper discovery here wasn't turned over. We cannot rely on what Deputy Salmon wrote in his report regarding what this witness will be testifying to. May I be heard, Your Honor? Yes, you may. Go ahead. We have witnesses testify all the time as to what they told somebody else, which is exactly what he's going to do. Okay, at this point, I don't see any objection as to why Deputy Ramos cannot testify. He was at the location. Subject to further objections to Mr. Waltz and Ms. Saunders, based on the questions and answers, it's not required that Deputy Ramos write a report in order to testify, so the objection is overruled. Deputy Ramos, what was your assignment on that particular day during the service of the search warrant? I was to assist with the entry and securing the scene, and then once we secured the scene, I assisted in the search. And what area did you search of the house? It was in the living room. What, if anything, did you find in the living room? Well, I located a quantity of methamphetamine in a cabinet area, which was in a coffee filter. Objection as to the term methamphetamine, it lacks foundation. That will be sustained. Motion to strike. Yes, it will be stricken. If you want to rephrase the question, counsel, go ahead. Okay, I'm going to get some later testimony to confirm what it was. Did you find something you suspected to be methamphetamine? Yes, I did. Objection leading, overruled. Go ahead. Could you describe what it was contained in? Well, the suspected methamphetamine was in a coffee filter, and the coffee filter was in a plastic drawer bin in a cabinet in the living room. Okay, now is there anything unusual about this suspected meth versus the other meth that you've observed or found? Yes, I found this methamphetamine to be wet and smelling of acetone. Anything unusual about the coffee filter itself? Well, yes, there was a yellow ring about halfway up to the coffee filter as if it had been wet, like a watermark, if you will, on the coffee filter. What color was that? It was a yellow color. What was the approximate weight of the, I don't know. Okay, and did you process that, or was that turned over to somebody else? Oh, that was turned over to the investigating officer. And who was that? That was Detective Salmon. Okay, and did you find any acetone in the same area, or was that found somewhere else? Well, I believe there was a bottle located in the living room. I'd object, Your Honor. This is speculation, obviously. That will be sustained. Motion to strike. I have nothing further. It will be stricken. Counsel, do you have any questions? Thank you, Your Honor. How long were you at the location before you made entry into the house? I don't really know, sir. I'm asking you how long you were at the location before we made entry into the house, sir. Yes, right. I don't remember how long we arrived on the scene before we went in. Okay, could you give us an estimate of how long? I would guess 30 minutes, sir. Let me ask you this. Isn't it true that you arrived on the scene and you remained outside of the residence for a good period of time before making entry? Well, I went inside and outside of the house several times. I'm asking you a specific question. When you arrived on the scene, isn't it true that you remained outside of the residence for a pretty significant amount of time before making entry? You didn't show up, get out of your car, walk to the front door, and go into the house? Correct, sir. Okay, isn't it also true when you arrived, Mr. Myers was not home at the location? I don't know where he was located, sir, or if he was home during that time. Okay, when you arrived on the scene, did you notice Mr. Myers there? No, I did not see him. Okay, when you went into the house, did you notice Mr. Myers there? Well, I did not see him in the house. Okay, when is the first time that you saw Mr. Myers at the location after you arrived on the scene? I believe he was outside in front of the garage area. Okay, and about how long was that after you arrived on the scene? Guesstimation, sir? 30, 40 minutes, best guess. Okay, do you know where Mr. Myers was coming from? No, sir, I do not. Did you talk to Mr. Myers at any point? I don't recall, sir, speaking with him specifically. Okay, did you or any other deputies make entry into the house before you? I believe so, yes, sir. Okay, and about how long did they go in before you went in? Again, sir, it would be speculating, 15 or 20 minutes maybe. Okay, and you were the person who found this suspected methamphetamine in the coffee filter, is that right? Yes, sir. And you are sure Mr. Myers wasn't in the house when you initially made entry into the house, right? When I went in, no, sir, he was not in there. And he wasn't in the house when you arrived on the scene, is that right? To the best of my knowledge, correct. Okay, when the sheriff's department executes a search warrant, isn't it true you would arrive, announce your presence, and clear a house prior to making any kind of a search? Yes, sir. I mean, you wouldn't just go in and start searching without knowing if there is somebody hiding in a bedroom or somebody standing in a kitchen, is that right? That is correct, sir. You're going to clear the house first, is that right? Yes, sir. So your search began after the house was cleared, is that right? Yes, sir. And during the clearing of that house, Mr. Myers was not located in the residence then, right? Correct. You knew the house was clear when you went in, right? Yes, sir. Okay, thank you. I have no further questions, Your Honor. I'm sorry, I have just a few more. How was that?
Good.
It seemed like it read a lot smoother.
Yeah, I think it's just not as dense and
Yeah,
not as much
and-
back and forth.
Yeah, not the colloquy isn't there. Yeah, and it makes such a huge difference.
So does.
Well, are you going to be able to attend in the morning? Actually, not tomorrow. I'm thinking tomorrow morning, Friday morning.
Yeah, I think so.
Good, good.
Yep.
All right. Well,
See you there.
thank you for attending live. I love it when there's students in the live.
To talk to.
It makes it so much better. Yes.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, then I'll see you Friday morning.
Okay. Bye.
Okay. Bye. Have a great day tomorrow.
You too.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.